What up, everybody? Happy January 2nd, or 3rd if you're in Australia. So I went to the local bookstore. It was half price books. They have all used books. And I found this little gem called This Year I Will. And it just talks about all the different ways which we can obtain our goals, whether that's a goal for New Year's or that's a goal for your birthday or any goal at any time. This book is here to help us. And this one tiny little chapter talks about understanding the 3 stages of learning. And I really, really wanted to talk about this because I know that this helped me out a lot. And I see people who get really involved and get really motivated to change and then fall off and really hate on themselves and just think like, oh, I knew I couldn't do it. I'm just not worth it. I just don't know how to. I'm no good at it. And I'm going to try my best to keep this not a 20-minute video. Hey, Curtis. I hope you stay and listen to this wonderful lesson I read in this book. Let's see. Stephanie, Larry, Dwayne, Jonathan, Brad, Mauricio, is that right? Genius. Ryan Crow, I see you. Can't escape. Curtis Troy, shout out to Curtis Troy. Old time family friend. Bridie Ann, hey. Bridie. So I hope you guys are doing good. How are you doing? I haven't talked to some of you guys in a long, long time. All right. So I love you too, Curtis. These stages of learning. So this book is called This Year I Will, again, and it's just about like different ways to which we might know how to reach these things that are just like elusive that we can't seem to do, and we keep trying over and over and it just doesn't seem to work. Or if we're really motivated for something, what makes sense to actually put this into action. And Angela, what up? Gloria, my girls are on here. So 3 stages. This first stage of learning, she calls post hoc. I'm not sure where she gets these terms from. I'm sure it's from somewhere else, but this first stage of learning is post hoc. And this is a stage where you notice that you want to change after the fact of you doing something. So she calls it the I just remembered I was going to check for jobs on monster.com yesterday stage. Or the first one's funny. She said, this is the I told myself last week I would remember to be patient with my mother stage. So this is like you do something and then you realize that you don't want to do that anymore, or you realize that you didn't do it. So you told yourself you're going to work out 3 days a week, and Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And Wednesday comes along and you're like, oh shit, I haven't worked out once. I haven't even thought about it. This is the first stage. This is actually improvement because you noticed that you didn't do it rather than just didn't do it and never noticed, which happens quite a bit. So that first stage is post hoc, and that's noticing that you didn't do something after the fact, which some people see like, oh shit, man, I told myself I was going to work out Monday, Wednesday, and I didn't, and I suck, and I'm terrible at life, and I'm just not going to do it anymore because I can't do it, and I won't do it, and I'm a terrible person, or whatever the mind chatter is that they're telling themselves. That's actually a really good thing. And Paulina, what's up? I love you. That's the first stage. The second stage she calls ad hoc. So this is a stage where I find myself in all the time where I'm doing something. Let's say, so watching YouTube. Like I told myself that I was going to do yoga, and I'm watching YouTube thinking, you know, I really should be doing yoga right now. I really should be doing yoga, but I'm watching YouTube. So you're like thinking in the moment when you're doing the thing that you don't want to do that you actually should be doing this other thing. You start shoulding all over yourself, like I should have worked out this morning. I should have done yoga while I watched YouTube, even as I thought about it. I should have not eaten that Oreo. I should have fill in the blank. You start shitting all over yourself. And this is another pretty important stage where people really fall off because they're like, I know that I should drink more water. And I'm sitting here drinking Pepsi all day, thinking as I'm drinking the Pepsi, I really want to be drinking more water. And this is actually a step up from the first step. So the first step was noticing it after the fact of you doing it, doing the wrong thing. And the second step is noticing it while you're doing it. So this is a step up too. And let's see if she says anything good in here. Yeah, she says, this is the I shouldn't buy this cookie, wine, pair of $200 shoes, but I'm going to anyway stage. And the third stage is the final stage. She calls it the pre-hoc stage. So this is when you got it. This is when you're doing something and you change your action to go do the thing you want to do, or you don't even start with that old thing that you used to do, and you just start doing the things you want to do and making the changes. And this stage is obviously the best in a lot of people's opinions. And I think the really, really important thing to remember is that those first two stages are when everybody falls off. But the first two stages are crucial because think about like a little baby trying to walk, and they fall and they stumble and they try to balance and they fall again and they cry and they laugh and sometimes they refuse and they just like sit down, but they all end up walking one day because they keep trying. So I think the really important thing to understand is that like you're going to fail. Yeah, Jessica. Hey, Gerardo. Is that right? Gerardo? Heather said habits are hard to break. Retraining your brain is hard. It is hard. The word hard I'm not too big of a fan of. I like to use the word challenging because the word hard just has such a negative connotation because it is really challenging and it does take time to make those differences happen. And the one thing that like keeps coming to mind when I think about like how difficult or challenging something may be is, so if I want to get in shape, it's challenging. It's challenging to change all of the things that may need to be changed, like diet and your mindset in order to get up and go work out on the times that you want to work out. And as hard as you'd like to work out to be that person that you see yourself as. And yeah, that's all really challenging, doing all of those things and getting into the habits of not wanting to wake up and eat Pop-Tarts and getting into the habits of actually waking up a half an hour early so I can go do that. Those are very difficult, but that is difficult. And it's just as difficult for me to stay in a position to where I don't like myself. For me, it is just as difficult to be a person that I don't like looking in the mirror at as it is difficult to actually change those habits where it's, it's kind of difficult much more at first, and then it gets easier as time goes on. So really, where do you want it to be difficult? Yeah, so she says it's super critical because unless you understand and learn what to do about those first two stages, you can stay stuck in stage 1 or 2 forever. So I see this, I've been in here, we see this all the time. Curtis says, damn, you've come so far, you're really doing big things. Look at your little podcast, I'm a big time shoulder. Shoulder? What do you mean you're a shoulder? Thank you, Curtis. I'll tell my dad I just saw him tonight. What do you mean shoulder? So, yes, recognizing that you're in these first two stages. Again, for people that have just hopped on, this is going to be the stage to where you realize you want to change after you've done the thing you don't want to do, or the stage to where you're realizing that you're doing the thing you don't want to do while you're doing it. Those two stages is crucial to realize that that's just a stage. That's going to change if you keep practicing. And let's see, recognizing that you've blown it is progress. It really is. The awareness that you actually faltered on what you're trying to do is progress rather than trying to tell yourself that you did okay. Like, no, you failed, and that's fine. That's fine. We're all going to fail no matter what. But we'll, like a baby, just if we keep trying, keep stumbling, and look like idiots until we finally get those muscles to learn how to walk. So it's been about 10 minutes. I'm going to go. Thank you for everybody who hopped on. And remember, with your resolutions, that it's okay if you're in these stages. That is expected for you to be in these stages. Nobody expects you to be perfect. You should not expect yourself to be perfect. And I guess I don't want to shit on you. You may not want to expect yourself to be perfect because that's just a lot for something that just doesn't seem to make sense in the learning process. So thank you guys. I love you all. I hope you've had a great new year, and I will talk to you later.